She was 15 years old, surrounded by 6 strangers in a public market, crying on the phone to her mother. And every single one of those strangers had been sent by her own grandmother. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm a mother, 46 years old, 2 daughters, 17 and 15, and about a year ago, their father died. He was my ex-husband. We were mid-divorce when the accident happened. The divorce wasn't finished. The papers weren't signed. And the reasons I was leaving him were about to become very, very relevant. Let me tell you the thing about my ex-husband that his parents never wanted anyone to know. He was cheating on me. Not a moment of weakness. Not a drunken mistake. A full relationship with another woman. For long enough that she had 2 children with him. 2 boys. My daughters were the ones who found out. Not me. My girls. Imagine being 15 and 17 and discovering that your father has an entire second family. They told me. And I began the divorce. Then the accident happened. He died. And so did his affair partner. Those 2 boys, his sons with the other woman, were left orphaned. No father, no mother. They were placed with distant relatives on my ex-husband's side. And that's when my ex-in-laws lost their minds. My ex-mother-in-law, I'll call her Margaret, was 78 years old. Her husband, 80. After their son died, they fixated on 2 things. First, they wanted custody of my daughters. We're going to court over that. They will not win. Second, they wanted the orphaned boys to live with us, with me, with my daughters, under my roof. The same daughters who were still in therapy, processing the trauma of discovering their father's betrayal. The same daughters who didn't know those boys, who didn't want to know those boys. Not yet. Maybe not ever. That's their right, and their therapist supports that boundary. But Margaret didn't care about boundaries. Margaret cared about control. Every weekend in our town, there's a market. Fresh produce, eggs, meats, local farmers selling straight from their land. This particular weekend was special. It was my youngest daughter's birthday. Her party was planned for later in the month, but I wanted to do something nice. So I gave her a budget and set her loose in the market. She's 15. She went straight for the chocolate and sweets. An hour passed. I started getting a little worried. And then, my phone rang. It was her, crying. She told me some strange people had cornered her. I ran. My oldest daughter ran with me. And when we found her, there were 6 women standing around my 15-year-old daughter in a public market. Older women, church women, berating her, telling her she was unChristian for not spending time with her paternal grandparents, telling her she should be a good big sister to her poor orphaned baby brothers. 6 grown women against 1 teenage girl in public on her birthday weekend. I got between them and my daughter. I told my eldest to go pay for whatever her sister had picked out and take it to the car. Then I turned to those women. Some of them I recognized. They were from my ex-in-law's church, the same church we used to attend when we were still married, when we were still pretending everything was fine. They told me I was the worst for refusing to obey my ex-in-laws, quote, like a good Christian wife. A good Christian wife to a dead man who fathered children with another woman while married to me. The screaming got loud enough that we were all asked to leave the market. I made it to the car with my girls. The women followed me like vultures across the parking lot. I drove away. That night, after my daughters went to bed, I got online. I contacted a member of that church I was still on good terms with. I told him what happened. He apologized immediately. And then he told me what had been going on behind the scenes. Margaret, my ex-mother-in-law, had written a massive post in the church's private Facebook group, a complete fabrication. According to her post, my daughters and I were monsters. We were supposedly leaving her and her husband homeless and penniless, never mind that they had inherited my ex-husband's personal bank account and his entire life insurance payout. According to her, we were the reason she lost her grandsons. And the cherry on top of this fiction, the affair partner, the woman my husband had 2 children with. Margaret told the church she was our surrogate. A surrogate. Because, according to Margaret, I was unable to have more children. And the reason I didn't want the boys, because they were boys. Not because they were the product of my husband's affair, because they were male. She actually wrote that. Now, here's something you need to understand about this church. They have their issues, particularly with LGBTQ+ topics. I won't sugarcoat that. But there is one thing they are absolutely ruthlessly strict about: infidelity. Cheating is a cardinal sin in that community. Husband or wife, doesn't matter. Equal condemnation, 0 tolerance. Margaret knew this, which is exactly why she invented the surrogate story. She knew that if the truth came out, that her son had been unfaithful, that she had known and supported him while he did it, that she had helped cover it up, the church would turn on her, and she was right. I took the next day off work, went to a print shop, and I printed everything. The photos of my ex-husband with his affair partner. Clear, undeniable, in our living room. Faces fully visible. She looked nothing like me. Different skin tone, different hair color. Not exactly the surrogate Margaret had described. His text conversations with the other woman. His text conversations with his parents, where he openly confessed to the affair. Where they responded with support, with encouragement. Messages from my ex-in-laws to me, harassing me about the divorce. And the crown jewel, the emails and text messages Margaret and her husband had sent to my daughters, calling them bastards, telling them it was their fault their father died, because they told me about the affair and I started the divorce. They sent that message 2 days after their son's funeral. 2 days. I paid extra for high-quality paper. Then I went home and spent hours making personalized binders. Not just any binders. I designed them to look like the little hymn books the church hands out at every service. The ones people pick up from the back table before they find their seats. The cover looked exactly like a prayer packet. The first page, when you opened it, a photograph of my ex-husband and his affair partner making out in our living room. Underneath, I wrote their names, and a title, their love story. I went to the church before the next service. There's a table in the back where they keep extra hymn books for people who forget to bring their own. Nobody checks that table. I placed the binders among the hymn books, and I left. The gossip mill moved faster than I could have imagined. Within hours, the church's Facebook group was on fire. The names they called my ex-husband and his affair partner were so severe that the pastor himself had to step in just to keep things PG-13. People were furious at Margaret and her husband for what they had done to my daughters. The text messages calling my girls bastards, those hit especially hard. And the part that made me laugh, genuinely, out loud, was how the church reacted to me. They acknowledged I was wrong for pursuing the divorce. But, and I quote, "It is understandable that she failed in her duties after the shock, and she may possibly one day return to the light, unlike her cheating husband and his Jezebel." They used another word for Jezebel. I'm sure you can imagine. I received 2 written apology letters addressed to my daughters, and an invitation to rejoin the church for support. As for Margaret and her husband, they were shamed out of the church entirely. The community that had been their social foundation for decades turned its back on them. Margaret posted on her personal Facebook wall about how alienated she felt, how no one cares for the elderly anymore, how she wished her great son was still alive because he would have taken care of her and her husband. With what money, Margaret? I was the breadwinner. Your great son couldn't even take care of the family he had, let alone the second one he built behind my back. And here's a detail that still bothers me. My ex-husband had a will. He had told me, to my face, that our daughters were named as beneficiaries. They weren't. His parents were. His parents got everything. The personal bank account, the life insurance, while trying to take custody of the daughters he had lied to. My daughters are still in therapy. They're doing better. Slowly. They don't talk to their grandparents. That's their choice. A choice I will defend until the day I die. Margaret thought she could weaponize a church against a 15-year-old girl on her birthday. She thought she could rewrite the story, make herself the victim, paint me as the villain. She forgot one thing. I had the receipts, not metaphorically, literally. Every text, every photo, every email, every lie she told, and every truth she tried to bury. And all I had to do was put them on the right table. There's a verse those church women love to quote, something about the truth setting you free. Well, the truth did set someone free, just not the person Margaret expected. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever dealt with toxic in-laws who tried to control the narrative? I want to hear it. If this story hit, give it a like. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe to Recounted Karma for new stories every week. Hit the bell so you never miss one. Until next time, stay patient. Karma always finds its moment.